Luckily, we're not voting on looks. Is it running?
He'd still be up pretty good.
Yeah.
We're running?
Yep. With mine.
Okay. All right, welcome, Max.
Thanks for having
Thanks
me.
for coming to my place here in the heart of District 2.
Absolutely.
And so thank you for sitting down with me. We're going to just have a little short chat. This is just to get to know you. I'm not talking to any other candidate. I just thought it would be interesting to talk to you because you have a little bit of a different situation than other candidates.
I would have to agree with that.
There are 13 it's a very big race.
There are 13.
And it seems to be a very, very, very desperately sought after seat by a lot of people with a lot of backing. And it's a special election because the previous commissioner stepped down.
Had to because he ran for Congress and lost.
Okay, so that was Mr. Ken Russell.
It was.
So, quick question. Why are you running for District 2?
I mean, like you said, I have a unique background of how I got here. I ran for mayor in 2021 and came runner-up to Francis Suarez after 343 days of running. And the reason I joined that race was because I see my hometown facing a lot of different crises, not just affordable housing, but traffic, environment, and guess where the epicenter of all that is? District 2. District 2 is where you have the most flooding, it's where people pay the most property taxes, and it's the place where people are feeling the effects of climate strikes the most. It's the one that needs to be immediately protected. And I felt like I'm very capable of doing so and could do it on a 45-day turnaround.
So, like a lot or all candidates, they always tell us what they see the issues are.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be their policy platform.
Mm-hmm.
But I think anybody off the street could tell us what problems are. What are the solutions, and what solutions can you affect and change by sitting on the commission and sitting in City Hall in Coconut Grove?
Okay, it's a little bit of a broad question because bear in mind if I win on Monday, it's a 9-month position and I would have to run again. So nothing's guaranteed for 4 years. I can't roll out a 4-year plan for you yet, although I do have one in my mind. I think the most important thing that I could control as a District 2 commissioner is making sure that we are more prepared for, like I said, all these climate strikes, storms, and our stormwater drains, the pollutants entering Biscayne Bay. We can add little screens in the drain inlets so that more bacteria doesn't get in. And you know, it's all really a waste management issue when it comes to the water and land. We're just not good and we don't do it frequently enough. When it comes to traffic, well, that's going to be a tough one in Brickell. We have the Brickell Bay Drive renovation going on and the Brickell Key Bridge renovation about to start. So they haven't not conducted studies with FDOT and county for the Brickell Key Bridge one. So my number one goal there would be to push back that construction to be able to plan it out for the residents, because all that corner of Brickell Bay Drive affects Brickell, it affects everyone, and to have 2 corners closed will be terrible. When it comes to affordable housing, I mean, the spot that's really like open for affordable housing, I guess you would say, is West Coconut Grove, but one guy owns all the land there. It's time. I used to preach a vacancy tax, but I know I couldn't get the commission to pass that now. But we need to start incentivizing developers and amending ND2 to be able to accommodate more ADU, which are accessory dwelling units, and multifamily households. So we want to keep the Black community that made the history of the community in the community, and we need to do that by building housing and bringing businesses that are relevant to them. What other issues can I think about? I did flooding. I did traffic. I mean,
Well, it's funny because Miami. I've lived in other cities. I grew up in London. I've been to many other cities. Fantastic transit, and we complain about transit a lot. District 2 is probably the most, has the best transit of anywhere in the county.
And it could be better.
And in terms, I'm not saying it's good,
No.
but especially like Brickell area, we got the Metro mover, starts
Easy.
a short walk from my place here. We have a couple of three Metro rail stations. We have got some parks and stuff, but this is probably one of the most walkable areas.
It is.
But once you start getting off the main drag, we have this big project going on called the Underline in Miami, which has basically, it's concreted over, which was pretty much a grassy path under the Metro rail. But to get to it, so that's fantastic if you want to go run or go for a walk on some new concrete under the. But to get to it, there's many streets that surround it. They don't even have sidewalks. So accessibility for people, let's say with disabilities or elderly or with kids.
Crosswalks, pedestrian friendly, everything.
Crosswalks are worn out. There is a place where the Underline is about to cross Broadway right by between the Publix and
I know exactly where the
Walgreens is.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That crosswalk hasn't been repainted in at least 6 years.
Well,
it's completely worn out.
And now on top of it, you have that construction on the corner right there, where it's all coned off going on to Coral Way.
Yeah, where they're putting a new roundabout, which I think it was one of my ideas, and I'm amazed to see it. That's fantastic. But if we can't trust the city to just correctly paint crosswalks, and now we're spending all this money on the Underline, this 40, 50, 60 million dollars, it seems to be a waste of money. I'm concerned about things like that. We have street lights all over the city that are defective. Have you noticed? They've turned purple, they're blue.
Of course.
It's dangerous.
I'm colorblind and I can tell that, yeah.
I'm colorblind too as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's rare. That's my excuse for everything. So, yeah.
Well, I think there's about 15-20% of men are. So that's a big issue for me is mobility and accessibility for people. Instead of building like just a dedicated
to the Underline or just in general?
Generally, but I mean the Underline to me just makes a mockery that we're going to spend all this money and semi-privatize this big long tract of land, but in order to get to it, you try and cross US 1. It's a nightmare.
Actually, one of the earliest ideas that I had, and I said at one of the Coconut Grove forums, was when you think about it, the Coconut Grove Metro stops right at 27th, right in front of the McDonald's. I mean, at 32nd, like right in front of the McDonald's. No, 27th, excuse me, right in front of the Shell. The Coconut Grove Metro is technically in District 4 because it's on the other side of US 1, but it's meant for people in District 2 to use. We should be able to have one of those walkable pathways that goes over the same way Vizcaya does. The same way Vizcaya does. It's never where the intersection of US 1 and Brickell start. They have the Vizcaya walkway and it's all beautiful. Something a lot simpler, obviously, for the area, not as canvassed and beautiful, but so that people don't have to cross the most dangerous road just to use the Metro. When it comes to the Underline, I am not a fan of it either. And I think it is the lamest excuse in the world of a park and an idea. And I think it just shows complete lack of execution and effort. And I apologize to anyone I'm offending that says that doesn't agree with me. But look, I come from a background of sports, and what this city needs is indoor athletic facilities. By putting basketball courts under a train track, you're not eliminating the problem of rain. It's still going to rain through. You're still not going to be able to use those resources once it rains. And that's the whole issue with our city. We blame everything on weather, traffic, but we don't do anything to weatherproof things. We don't do anything to make things easier and coordinated when it comes to traffic. We don't plan things out. Underline, you said it yourself. We pour concrete. What does this city love to do? They love to pour concrete. Drilling is like a permanent sound in your head.
Well, yeah, I hear it all the time here, and the building, actually, the United Teacher Day building is going to go, and they're going to build 2 huge towers right next to me. It's going to be for about 3-4 years of.
I have 3 buildings being built right next to me on Brickell Key, and they're going to shut the bridge down for 2 years before. So hopefully I can make it off the island.
But one thing that I like, to say, the underline is the idea of building a linear park for people to do physical activities on probably the most trafficked and polluted road in the city, which is US 1. To me, it's
I don't know if
bizarre.
that's a fact, but it should. Yeah,
Well,
it should be.
Anytime, let's say from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. If I want to go south from here down to South
good
Miami,
luck. Good luck.
you're in bumper to bumper
Yeah,
traffic,
Absolutely.
and those cars are all spewing fumes.
That kind of pollution. Okay.
So if you want people to go run and play sports, I wouldn't put them next to,
My whole thing is
same
like,
with that skate park under the 95. I mean, what do you think the fumes?
why does everything have to be under a bridge? Like, that's what I don't get. Like, why can't you do something for people that is good and indoors? Like, what is the big deal about that? We have one indoor basketball court that is public, and that's Jose Marti.
Yes.
And then every other tennis court, you guys have 6 tennis courts. Every time it rains, boom, they're gone for the entire day. They're gone. And the city, it's been raining for as long as we've been around, and nothing has ever proactively been done to fix these kinds of issues. And they are fixable. They are fixable. They are just not being proactive about it. And you got to think outside of the box and put yourself in people's shoes. That's a tennis coach's economy. That's how he makes money. That's how the kid gets exercise. And when you take resources away from people, that's when they get into trouble and do bad things. That's why we were always taught when we were young, stay on the field, stay in the weight room, and stay out of trouble, because that's the way it goes. And I just hate seeing everything rained out and no one outside, because I know anything that they're doing inside is definitely not better than for them.
Well, I know the city of Miami does have an unpaid person, Frankie Ruiz. He's very active in. He was part of it.
Guy, right?
Yeah, Run Club. He established the Miami Marathon, and
He went to Belen. He did.
Went to Belen, and he's very active, and he's all about fitness and empowering people with community and stuff. So, hopefully, if you become commissioner, you'll be able to work with him, and you have some things there in common with him. Then we'll move on to something. Next topic. Well, I said I live here right in the middle of District 2. I have received dozens of flyers.
Yep.
Positive,
Negative
negative
mostly.
flyers. I receive phone calls. I've received dozens of text messages.
Yeah, I get more Zilber.
I've got phone calls and they're all from like research firms.
Yeah.
I say, well, listen, I've got some questions.
You notice on the forum, on the surveys, that they don't ever include my name?
Well, nobody. I've only ever been asked about Sabina Kogo and Eddie Leo.
Yeah.
And then once in a while I receive somebody say, oh, vote for Martin Zilber.
Yeah, no.
And that's it.
I get more Martin Zilber notifications than I do ESPN notifications. It's incredible.
I just received one at 10 o'clock this morning for the Kogo campaign.
Kogo?
And
they're all out canvassing.
the funniest thing is she's, and I did make some notes about that. She's received the endorsement of Democratic Party,
She has
Safe Date, several other organizations, and quite a number of, the previous commissioner, Ken Russell, as well, is pushing her.
What was her job before this?
So, and it tells us that she was an investigative reporter, she held government to account. I've never been able to ascertain from her. I've contacted her via Instagram, via Twitter. I've responded to all the texts and the calls. asking, what did she uncover? Which story did she break? Who did she hold to account? And I've received nothing. So I've been given all these virtues about this candidate,
I know.
but there seems to be little to no substance, or they're not able to tell us why I should vote for her, except she is the one.
I can tell you why they chose her. She was Nikki Fried's communications director.
Okay.
She was Nikki Fried's communication director, a former agriculture commissioner who's now running for chair of the Florida Democratic Party. Like, of course they're gonna put her person. Like, Sabina, I guess this is going on camera, so I gotta say it, but hey, Sabina always uses that she's a mother of 3 kids and that'll help her do the job. I will never, ever be able to understand how having responsibility for 3 children on top of a district will make you better at a job. When it comes to uncovering and exposing corruption, I don't even give a fuck. I don't care what corruption she exposed. There's a big difference between exposing it and standing up to it. Billy Corbin exposes it all the time, but he's not in here running as a grassroots candidate trying to take them out. That's the difference. If you want to expose people, fine. Just stay behind Twitter. Do you? That's all you need to do in today's world. You want to make the change, learn the rules of the sport, and fucking play it.
Well, you mentioned Billy Corbin. That was going to be another question. He
interviewed 60.
Strangely, to me, he threw his endorsement behind a gentleman called Eddie Leal, which most people will not have heard of. So I did a little research after I saw that endorsement, and I know that Billy Corbin has said that Al Crespo was a great mentor. Al Crespo
followed me, and when he died last year, I got really, really sad because we spoke a few weeks earlier. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean.
No, it's okay. And I was sad too. And during COVID, I also spoke to Al, and I wanted to have a sit-down discussion with him.
Al supported me.
And he wanted to do it, and we never got around to it. And I guess that's a good example of not procrastinating, because I lost the chance to sit down and have a chat with Al. The first thing I found about Eddie is that Al tore him a new one
on Crespogram.
On Crespogram, which is thank goodness it's still up and it still exists. About Eddie's issues, let's say conflicts, what happened in 2019. Apparently he was lobbyist. He didn't register as a lobbyist. He was a legal counsel to the current mayor, who I'm not a fan of.
Me neither.
And he seems to have issues. So it was very odd to me that Billy would throw his weight behind that, and he has a very large platform.
Sharif is trying to get me into some trouble here with these questions because he's asking me about people that I just want to go off on. I mean, Billy Corbin interviewed 6 out of 13 candidates personally.
He said that he spoke to all candidates.
No, he did not. He spoke to 6 out of 13, and he moderated 1 forum. He did not choose me as one of the 6 candidates to be interviewed, and I begged him during my entire mayoral campaign for just that same opportunity. He could have torn me a new one if he wanted to. He could have said I was completely unqualified, but instead he chose not to talk about me. And the reason is because, bad news is his business. Bad news is business. Just because Miami exists as a show, if there's no chaos going on and people are trying to do good things, no, I think you're only contributing to the chaos. Does he live in the city of Miami? As far as I'm concerned, he doesn't. And Billy is one of the best producers and directors in all of documentaries and films right now. Best out of Miami. But I wish he would do more to elevate than he would to tear down. That's just the best I could say, because I know I stood up for him before I even knew him when Joe Carollo was going after him, and I was just getting into my campaign. And, he starts calling him Little William Cohen, Like that type of belittling, you know, especially religious belittling is so ugly. Of course, you would expect it from Joe Carroyo, but you know, I even reached out to Billy after. I'm like, hey man, like, can we please talk? Like, I did this for 9 months, just never happened.
Yeah, no, I don't want you to put you in a position where you're.
No, I'm cool. I feel like I answered
You
that.
know,
All right.
where you have to get into it with other people. But you did mention somebody there. If you win on Monday,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be sitting on that commission with Joe Carroyo.
Joe Carroyo, that'll be fun. Good 9 months of my life to 2023, huh?
I think for a lot of decent people in Miami, Joe Carroyo represents the worst of this city.
He was city manager in 1979, so I can totally see why they see him that way. Because since 1979, this guy's had a leadership role within the city. He is eligible in 2025 to run for mayor again because he already only had one term. So, yeah, Joe Carroyo is I mean, look, I don't ever disrespect people. I respect him. I respect him. It's just like we've got to find a middle ground to do proper business together for the city. Like you just can't build $1 million parks out of statue animals when we need real help for other things. Sorry.
Okay. Well, you know, I made a few notes of questions, but I know we've already gone over some things that.
Ask anything you want.
But this talking about Joe Carroyo.
Oh man, are you
Let's talk about the City of Miami Police Department. Mayor Suarez came out and said he found, I think, what was the expression? The Michael Jordan of police.
Yep.
And he brought in Art Acevedo
Big fan.
to come in and clean up and to run what is quite clearly a very dysfunctional and problematic police department. And he didn't last very long because he
Found the bad
complained
guys.
about the Cuban mafia
Found the bad
that
guys.
runs the city of Miami, pretty much,
He
with
found the bad guys.
the
He
commission
did his job.
and the police force.
He did
So
his job.
that resonated with a lot of people, but and we were upset to see.
was-
Many were upset to see Acevedo go.
That was the first day I met Billy. We went into Francis's office after, and we started talking for hours. We were just talking, like what's going to happen next. The city's getting sued, 28 million, ball and chain, you know, all these other lawsuits.
Yes.
Like damn, this city's going not only underwater but under debt too. Like there was a point in time where in 1997 we almost had to unincorporate. People act like those times aren't going to happen again and the county will save us, but that's just not the case. And if people are using the city's budget and funds as a piggy bank to serve all these different purposes, there's no way we're ever going to progress forward.
So a lot of people I talk to, they do believe that there is a Cuban old boys network running this town.
I call it the Miami Matrix because I do not get involved in nationalities, and mi familia de Madrid, no soy cubano, so I don't feel comfortable saying what you just said, but the Miami Matrix is a real thing. It goes from politicians to media to money to McClatchy, who owns the Miami Herald. Like, the names, just connect them. Jamal Mashburn, regional manager, dapping up Francis Suarez courtside at a Celtics game. It's like all of it is right there in front of you. No one's standing up to it. No one's standing up to it. That's just the thing. No one's It's not even hard investigative journalism. It's going to a website and looking. And like the Miami Herald, like Joey Fletcher, is like what they do to cover for these people. How are they even reporters? How are they even reporters? Like the things they do, they get sued for. I mean, they hire people for $100,000 jobs that don't even go to the job. Just a woman buying Alex de la Portilla, giving the woman a car, like all that crap. Like these people they need a voice of reason, and I feel like I can be that. I very much feel like I can be that, porque puedo comunicar en las dos lenguas, but because I also don't have anything to owe them. I don't owe them anything. We have to agree on votes and stuff, but if it's a good deal, it's a good deal, you know? But these guys, you never know where the money is. And that's the thing, we have to audit the city comprehensively.
What are we going to do about the interference with the police department?
I mean,
from city commissioners.
I mean, honestly, it's not just city commissioners. It's, I mean, a mayor who has $1 million budget a year on the police that gets to sit in front of his house 24/7. I mean, that is, people talk about defund the police. You got a mayor that you spend $1 million a yearly police budget on. You know how much they spend to exterminate homeless camps? $70,000 a month to just exterminate the homeless and tell them to get out of here. That's $840,000 a year. So that right there we have $1.8 million. That's $2 million. That if that went to the right place, we wouldn't be talking about defunding the police. You know, it's like who in Miami is using the police? It's the government. And that's the reason people down here especially have such qualms about dealing with police officers, because they don't know who they're involved with from a higher up position.
What did you learn from running for mayor, and how has that changed how you're running for commissioner?
That's actually a really good question, and you know, it's not one that I've been asked often, but I think the number one thing is that I've learned to stay quiet. Play stupid sometimes. Play stupid and just, you know, make them think that I'm just not capable of doing it or answering it. And then when the time comes, you know, taking advantage. Because last time I showed them I was too knowledgeable about everything way too early. I was telling you this kind of stuff now, back then. And for them, that was a huge worry. So I just learned to stay silent, and I ignored the Miami Herald. I went alternative media. That's what I've been doing. But yeah, I learned that. I learned that endorsements mean nothing. I learned that local participation in elections is a product of the people who currently run the government and the fear they've struck in people. But the worst thing is, it's not fear, it's discontentment. And discontentment is supposed to make you feel like crap. You're supposed to want to motivate yourself and get better. But here it's used as a mechanism to control people and make them feel like crap all the time. And that's why, what's the name of Billy's show? Because Miami, you can never blame a place for things that people made decisions on, because the people did them, not the place. That's my whole thing about the because Miami mentality. It's defeated. You lost already. Like, are we going to solve the climate crisis? Are we going to be the forefront? You see, you're shaking your head right now. I want the job. I want the job. I want to give you the best try that I can. But there's people like you that believe it's never going to happen.
The problem I see with Miami, and it's something that I've been saying for a long time, and I kind of coined the phrase, it goes like this. In a city of such transience, the collective memory is short. What does that mean?
Big facts.
That means that there's a continuous turnover of people. Look at the city. You look around. You don't know where you are in 1 year to the next. Buildings go up, buildings go down. There's no, we're just flat. We're just buildings, and we're developers. We're new money. Everything is for short-termism. We see all these buildings 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. Then you look at them, they all have scaffolding. They're fixing balconies and.
They've been fixing those balconies forever, though, because I have a friend who lives in that building.
The Jade on Brickell Bay Drive. Yeah, that was the highest tech building built 20 years ago. Yeah. Within 3-4 years, they had to drill out all the balconies. Yep. I was my second job in Miami. I was delivering bagels in 1999 in a bagel shop in the Fortune House building. That building, the first year it rained, every single window let water. First hurricane came, every single.
don't remember which hurricane 1999 was, but they were so bad when I was young. I mean, I remember hurricane days at school, like getting them off, you know. And when my first memory of life, my first entire memory of life, like as a kid, as anything, is Hurricane Andrew. I was born in May 1991, and I remember August 1992, and what I saw outside as honestly like a picture perfect memory. It was the first thing like I ever saw and witnessed that shocked me. And to be here now and people accepting it as normal is kind of really sad. It's really actually sad, because what have they done since to truly improve and protect us from it? They've eliminated trees, they've put more concrete, and they've made us more vulnerable to any climate strike that hits us. Because trees and plants, those protect us. And what is the big deal about getting hit by a hurricane? Not just the casualties and the damage, but the cost of repairing it all and getting back to a normal society. That's what holds the city of Miami back continuously. Projects, I really wonder if the 395 is ever going to finish. I don't know if that's going to finish. Something's telling me that there's going to be like a climate catastrophe and we're not going to be able to finish it. It's been these monoliths for how many months now? Just these huge things. But how does that make us any stronger from hurricanes? We can build that.
Well, yeah, with the money they spent on that signature bridge,
$800 million?
did we need an arch?
$800 million?
I think that was they said it was the $1 billion bridge. I think it's going to be 2-3 billion. It's going to be like another Miami Marlins Stadium.
By the time they're done with it in 20 years, yeah, it'll eventually have inflated to 20-30, 2-3 billion. Like, who knows? Like, it's just cheese. For a city that says they're trying to go towards transit-oriented development, it's a very backwards thing when you think about it. However, it is going to a different direction, east-west, which, like you said, is a problem accessibility-wise with public transportation and such. But with driving, I mean, going to the beach, getting off the beach, you have to live that life to really deal with it. Like,
okay, something I didn't take notes on, but really, I think it's important that our downtown is you know, if you go to any downtown in any city in the world,
it's like the
it's
highlight.
vibrant. There's cafes, there's things going on, there's movement. I've lived in Miami full time since 1998. I first came here in 1988. My dad opened the business in 1986. I've been visiting since then. And apart from a Bayside marketplace, downtown, they've never seemed to figure out a way to make downtown a vibrant, livable place. Sure, there's a bunch of buildings and condos, and we have this huge park. Well, there's two big parks there, Bicentennial and Bayfront. We give one of those parks away for about 6 weeks of the year to a music festival, and I was going to say your predecessor. You're not the commissioner yet, but the previous commissioner was championing creating a park next to the park under the metro mover lines. Do you remember they were doing like food trucks and?
Of course, I remember that. But this is
and
also,
I'm like,
this is also the same commissioner that caved in and got an entire public golf course ripped up for an MLS stadium. So I think that's a very low standard to judge by.
but imagine we have an existing park that's not activated, and they want to create a sliver on Biscayne Boulevard.
In Morningside Park, they literally want to knock down the basketball court to move it over. They want to knock down this beautiful children's playground to move it over. These people love to pour concrete. And concrete, if they keep doing it the way they are, they're going to sink our city. They're going to sink our city. And you know, we don't have earthquakes here. We're lucky. We're lucky we don't have earthquakes. We have different types. We have we're in the Atlantic storm region. You know, we have our hurricanes and our possibilities, but we don't have earthquakes. I'm worried that first day is going to come at some point.
Well, the much heralded, phase one of the underline, which was adding concrete and green paint. Okay, there's a basketball court. There's like, I don't know,
But it's not
some
built well.
concrete ping pong tables. The flooding in Brickell West, which is that area just west of the old Brickell village, where that 7-Eleven, I think it's Third Ave.
Yeah.
They get more flooding now
Yeah.
than they did before they built that. I contacted the underline at the time. I said, listen, you guys are ripping up old growth trees, you're taking out plants. Oh, we're doing permaculture and there's going to be drainage, and there's never been more flooding there than there is now.
That's why I'm not sure where the money's really going. I can't tell you that because I don't know. I don't know, but I do know they had a CITT meeting the other night that was supposed to let us know how much in municipal transit funds we have. I haven't followed up with my transportation liaison advisor yet, but there was over 20 million in unused funds at one point. Unused. That, which is even worse than saying you spent them on something, because it means you're proactively doing nothing. And it's like, I'd rather you have just stole it than just not done anything with it for the people. Like, just why is it sitting there? We could be helping so many people with so many different things, but these people love to suffocate time.
Yeah.
That's what they do. That's their game, and they want you to play until the end because they're gonna get you to give up. And that's another thing I learned here is that they tried to get me to give up last time. They tried. It ended up becoming the media canceling me, whatever. I got over it. But I'm back. I'm back, and that's something they've never had to deal with before. And residents are taking that as a notice. I know that for a fact, because they know that I'm not scared of them. I have no reason to be. If you're gonna physically attack me, go ahead. Go ahead. You're not gonna catch me. I'm gonna run.
I know that when you get into politics and when you get into a position of elected position, and you have to work with others, at some time you have to be pragmatic.
Absolutely.
But I think that also there is a time to be confrontational, combative, and to fight against
The bullies.
The bullies, the corruption, the Carollos,
I mean, look,
the Hardimans.
and it's really not hard to do. Like, for example, let's go back to Joe Carollo calling Billy Little William Cohen. Like, that is I guess what you'd call it anti-Semitic, slur or taunt. Ken Russell got called Japanese once, and
he made fun of his haircut. He said they looked like Kim Jong-un.
And but no one ever. And why didn't Ken Russell stand up for Billy Cohen? For Billy Corbin?
But you know what? I mean, between you and me, I think those two things are sideshows.
Oh, I mean,
because calling out Billy by his family name and being racist, or suggesting to Ken, are very small fish compared to what he has been doing to
Virginia Key and
doing to the constituents of the whole of the city of Miami.
Yeah.
Because they give us something to talk about that's unrelated. And in the meantime, developers are coming in, money's going here, money's there, and we're talking about Billy Corbin and Ken Russell's haircut.
I literally don't understand why during an election right now, Billy Corbin's chasing Carollo around with chicken suits. Like, that is.
I mean, it was funny the first time,
but it's like,
but
it
cheapens the whole thing.
What are you accomplishing by any of this? That's my whole point. Is like, if you're not doing anything to solve the issues, and you're just going to continue to rail on the people, you're going to continue to contribute to that defeated mentality, the because Miami mentality. That is the business right there. And I wouldn't be surprised if Billy and Joe are secretly best friends. Like, that's just the world we live in. I'm not saying they are, but they both make money off each other. They
Yeah.
both make money off you. I mean, I don't know if Carollo makes money off him, but Billy sure does.
Well, I think Joe Carollo is a clear and present danger to the people
He could be my coworker.
of the city.
He could be my coworker. So.
And I lived in that district. His brother was, when I lived there in East Little Havana, his brother Frank was the commissioner. He was a disaster.
That's the thing.
And funnily enough, whenever I had any issues with in my district, I used to email everybody, the mayor, city manager, all the commissioners. And funnily enough, the only person who used to intercede was the one who was the commissioner in the next door district, which funnily enough, now is the mayor. So I used to think that Francis was great.
Mm-hmm.
He helped me with some problems on Calle Ocho with tourist buses
I hope so.
and problems. But then when he became mayor, it became apparent that this guy has ulterior motive and
should have been clear the first time he ran in 2013 when he got caught cheating with absentee ballots. Like, that runs in the family. It's a habit, it's a system. It's something I'm worrying about this election right now. If they want Zilber that badly, they know which all the empty apartments are. How do I know they're not ordering vote by mails there and not sending them in? Like, you know, I'm on top of this and I'm thinking about it, but it's just like, damn, like no one's ever looked into the integrity. Like the 1997 mayoral election in Miami destroyed democracy down here forever. It destroyed it forever, and it became two names versus each other. Carollo versus Suarez. And it's become that war. Here we are, 26 years later. You know, dealing with the same people, the same infrastructure issues, the same businesses making money, and people wonder why there's no change. Well, if you want to create change, vote locally. Vote locally because local leaders are the ones who affect your everyday reality the most on and read.
Where do you live, Max?
Brickell Key.
You live in Brickell Key, so you're close to here. All right.
Yeah.
We've talked for, I thought we were going to talk for just maybe 10-15 minutes. I think we've talked for a lot longer.
How long?
I haven't looked at my watch, or I didn't look at the clock. So just to wrap
40?
up.
45?
You probably have other things to do. I know.
I have a lot to do, yes. Sir.
This is, I mean, we have early voting, and then we're recording this.
Early voting is done.
I mean, we have.
At 4. At
4
p.m.
At 4 today.
It's done. Like
and then tomorrow?
Hours. No.
No.
That's it's an election, not on a Tuesday.
Well, this was already very strange.
That's voter suppression.
When I was looking at at some of the materials, I said, "Oh, I think they're tricking me. They give me the wrong day because our elections are always on a Tuesday." Yep. And they said Monday, and I start looking in my calendar. I said, "No, it's a Monday. This is really odd."
Yup, it's really odd. For some reason, it's really odd.
And I'm not saying it's easier or harder to vote on a Monday versus a Tuesday, but when elections are always on a Tuesday.
Elections are always on a Tuesday, and the 28th is the last day of the month. It only makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, they are purposely doing it so that you are not paying attention. And all these forums I've been going to, I've been sharing the same question with 13 people in a line. Do you think anyone's getting anything out of it? Absolutely not. It's to show the illusion of democracy.
Yeah.
To show that they're not really trying, but they want it to look like they're trying. But the results keep on telling you they're not doing shit.
Francis Suarez won with, I don't know what the voter turnout was.
Which year?
In the last election, the one you ran in.
Yeah.
Was 16% of the people voted?
No.
Wasn't it really low?
14.
14?
14, and my goal was to bring it up, but couldn't get the media on my side. I was the only challenger with double digits.
Who's reached out to you in this campaign from the media?
None.
So it's only me?
Joey Fletcher's did.
It's the Sofas of Little Havana.
Sofas of Little Havana. I mean,
that's it. That's bizarre, isn't it?
It happened to me last time. That's why I sought the media out this time. I was on What Josué Has to Say. I was on Cesar Flores' TikTok. I'm doing all alternative media.
I would have talked to you last time, but my dad was going through the cancer
No, I
treatment and
understand.
everything, and I wanted them. That's when we
That's
first
when
talked.
we connected. Aaron.
I'm glad we got to chat, and I'd like to give you the opportunity. Why should we vote for you on Monday?
Because I'm fearless and resourceful. I'm the person that is willing to take on all of these issues with the least resources possible, because I believe I have the ability to actually change the way things work. And the way to change things work is by leading by example and doing things ethically, doing things the right way. And even if they fail, you didn't come out a bad person doing it. You always have to act with the people's interests in mind, and anyone you accept money from is automatically a debt over your head. And the more and more debts you have over your head, the more and more of a politician you become.
Have you received any campaign donations? Have you solicited them?
Yeah, I've solicited them, but I don't take money from PACs or dark money or groups.
How much did you raise?
I have the third lowest out of the 13, 7,000. And I'm still being put third by the Miami Herald. So, am I worried about money? Would I like to have more of it to be able to explore more things? Sure. But last time I did on 21,000. I barely ever paid Dustin, paid him 3 times. But, this time at least I have enough to have him with me and, actually paying for his services. But we're getting the most done together because we learned from the last process. It's been a complicated thing, especially when you see they're throwing dinners for the other candidates and they're getting $1,000 a plate. It's like, shit, how do I keep up with that? I mean, no one wants to touch the opponent that went against Francis Suarez. That's why I have to win this outright by myself.
Leal has kept very quiet, although the campaign and the flyers and the promotion has been very loud. He hasn't come out and he isn't talking.
I'm the only one that's talking. As far as
also Kobo is talking. She is putting out things and she's talking.
She's reading.
Reading, okay, but
she's not telling what she feels because she doesn't know.
You're the only two candidates who are showing their face and speaking.
Well, she was a reporter. I hope she is.
Well, I don't know. She didn't impress me.
I mean,
she didn't impress me.
Preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just.
Well, but listen, best wishes for Monday.
Thank you.
I think that I'm not a news station. I'm not obliged to stay independent. I'm going to vote for you.
Thank you.
Because I would encourage other people to vote for you too.
Thank you.
Because I think that we need to have not just new blood, somebody that's going to shake things up, and someone who isn't a moron. And I think this is the bare minimum that we need, and that will be better than what we had. I think that that Ken Russell was a huge disappointment to us. And to a lot of people, he showed himself to be something that in the end he wasn't.
I mean, people ask me all the time, are you qualified for this job? And I'm like, Ken Russell sold surfboards before this.
Right. Yeah.
The fuck? I mean, sorry. I mean, it's just people are delusional. You got a mayor that thinks he's going to be president, but he's never even gotten over 50,000 votes in his life.
Yeah.
It just crazy delusional things happen down here. But it's that is because of the Miami mentality. Is you want to dream big, but people don't want to put in the work. And that's the one thing that I can swear that always made me different in Miami, is I put in the work. I transferred schools to go play football, be disciplined, get to an Ivy League school, and everyone else was just relaxing, going home after school. I just knew I had to work. I knew. When
you become commissioner, get ready. I'm going to be bombarding you with issues and things that need fixing and problems in the city.
From what I've heard,
potholes, street lights.
Ken Russell didn't really because you gotta protect 11 miles as District 2 commissioner, and all of its coastline too. So for the climate crisis, there's a different solution for every area. Like Morningside is different than, you know, Brickell Bay Drive, to potholes, to crosswalks, to everything from Coconut Grove, Brickell Key, downtown, Omni, downtown Edgewater, all the way up to Morningside.
You don't have to go far from City Hall to find all these problems. So
No,
hopefully that when you're elected, you're going to be the solution.
I want to be the solution. I want to be the solution. You know, it's kind of like being the answer. The answer, Allen Iverson. Yeah, I would love to be the solution. And I realize now after the campaign last 2 years, like 15 months ago, that commissioners are the ones that are the ones really pulling the strings. And you really need a good person in there. You need a good person in there who's not going to cave on their morals. And if I cave on my morals, you'll see me out of there. I'll quit.
Okay.
I'll quit within I have 9 months to choose if I want the job.
I'll be outside City Hall with the sign if you start messing up.
I mean, it's
Max has to go.
if you see me with more expensive stuff, like everyone knows, like I wear Nike, I wear Jordan, I don't like wearing suits really because it's hot, it's whatever. If that ever changes, okay, then I changed and you should call me out. But it's really not going to change. Like,
all right, we'll cut it now. Okay, hold on a second. Don't go anywhere. Wow, we did 52 minutes.
What time is it?
Oh, it wasn't recording. No, I'm kidding.